With the creation of the fire goddess came the revelation that I didn't need a press to make a print. That became another new beginning for me.
Old German masters in printmaking inspire my work using old techniques like aquatint, dry point, and more. My work is a visual story of a renewal, circle of life. Like my work Renewal, which shows a skull but also sprouting leaves. There's a beginning and an end, which results into another beginning, a new beginning.
Our experiences are constantly turning. They are endings and new beginnings. My painting evokes in me a sense of a new beginning, which is inherent in these transitions. New beginnings arise by the shifting from lines to form, from dark to light, and from movement to stillness.
New beginnings during the pandemic, learning a new medium, watching bleak days pass by, seeing the new blooms starting to grow in the park.
In 1985, while a professor of graduate art therapy at the College of New Rochelle, I began working on Timeline. My work on this piece paralleled my tenure at CNR, where I would work intermittently on the sculpture for years. When CNR announced its closure in August 2019, I began to finish this piece before I lost the necessary tools. But the closure of New Rochelle brought with it new beginnings, as I joined the graduate art therapy faculty at the College of Mount St. Vincent, where they built a new sculpting studio for me to continue my work.
Our lives have been put on hold. Although I stopped going to my studio, I took up on painting at home, leaving behind my training and transitioning from representational narratives to focusing exclusively on motion, light, and color. Are these works new beginnings? Not sure, since I never settled on any one style. But maybe they are symbolic of the larger change that we all must undertake to reassess priorities and move forward in a more humane way.
My new series represent new beginnings relating to adaptation to this stage of life and a changing world.
This past spring, as I walked through a local nature preserve, I felt the earth showing me signs of revival and renewal, leaving me a feeling of hope and joy. Back to my studio, I began a painting I call River of Tears in response to that calming effect that walk gave me. I believe during these very unsettling and frightening days, we are all searching for signs of optimism and hope for our future.
The virus has taught me life can be changed in an instant. I grieve not only for myself, but for my daughters. Everything is out of my control. The new work reflects the chaos of these times. Pat Steer said, "Just don't control, let it happen." During this isolation, I found peace on my daily walks. Flowers have always been instrumental in putting a smile on my face. These walks led to the creation of my new series.
In these times of social distancing, uncertainty, and isolation, our natural world has become a refuge. I find comfort in the rhythms and the cycles of the plants and animals, and in the vistas that are both constant and changing. In a world of human suffering, our sweet earth continues to live and renew itself. It is to this concept that I have tried to pay homage in my painting.
My son came home for a few months during the pandemic. He helped me plant my garden around Mother's Day with some sunflower seeds. He placed them in pots and we watched them grow. Unfortunately, he needed to leave before they bloomed. Sitting in my yard, I imagined a magic garden planted by young children. Planting and growing are what I think of as a new beginnings. I started to draw my own secret magic garden of new beginnings.
The astounding design, colors, and fragrance of flowers have a sole purpose in the universe. They have evolved perfectly to entice specific partners that enable pollination. Those seeds that come after these ephemeral flowers have evolved over time specifically for the renewal and rebirth of the species. Each flower, whether they last a day or a season, offers us as human beings joy. But the more profound accomplishment they provide in their existence is the very survival of the species.
With all challenges we face today during COVID, a plant blooming in vibrant colors demonstrates new beginning and shows that nature keeps going. This gives me the hope life will go back to normal. Like plants experiencing new beginnings in spring and nature overcomes disasters and keeps going, we humans will overcome COVID and experience new beginnings and a bright future.
Since very early in my artistic life, I have been concerned with the concept of light. Light emanates from the sun, upon which all living things depend to survive. In the book of Genesis, God creates light to mark the beginning of the world and of all living things. In my oil painting, Rose of Sharon, I celebrate how I captured this beautiful and wild plant budding, growing, and flowering. This is my first still life painting of a live flower, which is a new beginning for my artistic life.
Timing is everything. I created Red Edge Hydrangea during the pandemic this summer when I was not going anywhere. Surgery did not allow me to drive, so observing everything around me became the subject of my artwork. The flowers that surround my co-op became the subjects in a new way, a new story. Not just perfect flowers, but the beauty with the imperfections that time and life gave them.
Having so much extra time to paint was a blessing, which is getting me through this crisis. I was a textile designer at one time. With the limitations imposed in a COVID environment, I tapped into my experience to bring fabric and natural forms, such as plants, flowers, or still life subjects, into something altogether new. With the comfort of the familiar, I was emboldened and indeed inspired to combine colors into new themes. I look forward to being inspired by my colleagues.
The piece that I'm exhibiting, Winging It, represents a new beginning for our world and views the current pandemic times. The abstract figures depicted in the piece indicate free expression taking flight in the vibrance of the colors and shapes. It speaks to mankind emerging into freedom in a more stable world, throwing off the viral pandemic that recently imprisoned mankind and killed so many. Humanity will rise out of the remains and break through to life and hope.
To begin anew, one must learn to see things in another way. Surroundings that have been seen many times in the same way must now be seen in a new way in order to move forward with inner joy.
In this unsettling time of the pandemic, my painting, Looking Back, can be interpreted in several ways. Having been a practicing artist and art professor for approximately half my life, I'm looking back upon my career as I'm holding the forked branch in my hand in the painting, which is symbolic of being at a crossroads. And as I ponder the future of what is to come in my later middle age, seen in that positive light, it would be symbolic of new beginnings.
In my fourth Self-Portrait a Day series, I use the vocabulary of my own features as they change with age to explore the broader experience of being human. Each series begins anew in January, but this year in March, everything changed, and I had to begin again to document this extraordinary time. Symbols for this year include masks, shadows, and boxes, and as in this piece, flying, floating, or falling objects.
My process of creating this art transforms my paintings into archival digital prints. Changing the composition to become symmetrical creates patterns. I also change my rectangular canvas to become an oval. My paintings have experienced new beginnings, and most importantly, the new shape of the oval is symbolic of eggs, fertility, birth, and new beginnings. With this work, I am hoping for good health and kindness for all.
I recently revisited a location photo taken many years ago. Soon to be 92 years old, I find that every day is a new beginning. All this has revitalized me because of my special relationship with collaborative artist and author Holly Gordon, who has curated this exhibition. A soon-to-be available book of our 6-year journey of creative, historic, and personal discovery, parallel perspectives, the brush lens collaboration is my inspiration. Reading it may inspire you upon a new beginning too.